as we all know, there's an election happening. And with this election, it is abundantly clear that the Democrats are going to try and pull out everything, anyone, and anything that could help out Joe Biden. Now, we all fell for this trap before in 2016 and 2020 when Bernie, the nutless wonder, managed to convince us that, hey, we could change the Democratic Party from the inside. We could have a political revolution. And they're going to be dusting out that old dog, Bernie, very soon in a way that is kind of insidious, in a two-pronged tactic, which, don't worry, Bernie Sanders is going to tell you to support his good friend Joe. And the media is going to twist and turn things around and try and make it perceive that everything's okay for good old Joe 30330. So what do I mean by this? Let me pull this up here. Folks, it's not only corporate pundits that are moving into the mediascape, especially on independent mediascapes right here, but also Bernie Sanders and his political friends. That's right. I'm excited to announce that this week I'm launching a new podcast where he's going to tell everyone to vote Democrat. I'm willing to bet it. 10 out of 10, he's going to do it. It's all going to be nuts about hot air. In the first few episodes, we discuss his recent book. So he's taking a page out of Cenk Uygur's book to sell his book on a podcast platform. It's okay to be angry about capitalism. Go fuck yourself, Bernie. Right here. Not one, but two. Right here. Right here. It's okay. According to Bernie, it's okay. If you'd like a copy of my book, you can make a contribution today of $12 or any amount you can afford. You'll send them out. So there it is. Bernie, the podcast. This son of a... I feel like Jesse Pinkman in Breaking Bad. He can't keep getting away with it. He can't keep getting away with it. Another book, so he gets in that cash money. But Bernie, they keep on dragging you around on social media. They keep on dragging you around on corporate media. Because look, the American people, no matter what, they are frustrated at the two-party system. Case in point, discussing the frustration with America's two-party system. Shout out to Case Study QB. Let's go and play this video because, look, they bring up Bernie the Nutless Wonder. In many ways, Bernie Sanders ran against the party. Barack Obama ran his propriety campaign around the party when he ran.
Kind of the existential question here that I want to pose to you is kind of this discussion about the two-party system in general and this real kind of anger and frustration with only two candidates being on the ballot, the same two people from the two-party system that's existed in this country for a long time, that Bernie Sanders, for instance, railed against when he was running, right? That seems like there's a real inherent frustration against that as well.
Listen, as a former party leader in New York, I get the frustration.
Oh, he gets the frustration. You get the frustration? Same in, same out. All the kind of stuff happening over and over again, no matter who sits in office, be it at the state level or at the federal level, Republicans and Democrats playing their games as they keep on getting richer and richer. You understand that the American people's patience is finally running out, that it's almost non-existent at this point.
Also say that it's rare that a third party candidate rises to the top where you really do have three very distinct choices. What ends up happening is that you see, as from the reporting, those candidates have a dent on the margins, and then one of the two major party candidates is going to suffer. But
they had to throw in that zinger to stop third parties, just like how Bernie Sanders helped derail third parties and independents. Because Bernie Sanders is not an ally to third parties or independents or those that want to break away from the Democratic Party. He doesn't want to reform crap. He doesn't believe in independence. He doesn't believe in third parties. He doesn't believe in stepping up. And corporate media is also going to reinforce that propaganda too.
Also say, in many ways, Bernie Sanders ran against the party.
Yeah.
In many ways, Barack Obama, loved Barack Obama, but he ran this proprietary campaign around the party when he ran. So for years, the infrastructure of state Democratic parties across the country just was not being supported. And a lot of voters, a generation of voters, didn't have the same value that, say, I did when I came into this business, looking at Jesse Jackson or Ron Brown or Andrew Young, who were staunch Democrats. And so I think the party has a lot to do to rebuild that kind of trust.
Hey, let's have democracy in the chat. Type 1 for, do you want to rebuild the party for the Democrats? Type 1 for, yeah, Kit, we gotta rebuild the Democratic Party. There's still a chance to save it. A type 2, no, I'm not wasting my time. I'm not going to be a sucker and support the two-party system. And this is, again, corporate media showing its true form. They want you guys to be afraid and not think for yourself because there is a growing fear in the environment. Now, Bernie Sanders doing this podcast, very suspicious. He's going to first lay it down soft on you guys. It's okay to be angry about capitalism, but then I'm willing to bet after he's done talking about his fantastic freaking book, he's going to start telling all of you why we got to support Joe Biden and hold his feet to the fire because we got to stop Trump. And if you vote third party, that's helping Trump. I'm willing to bet he's going to say that.
And faith among voters, but don't take that anger out on the candidates in this campaign because it's not a lesser of two evils.
I know what could happen.
There are really dire consequences. Faith among voters, but don't take that anger out on the candidates in this campaign because it's not a lesser of two evils. There are really dire consequences if Donald Trump wins, in my view.
Yes, because let's talk about this. Biden, behind the scenes, Biden has grown angry and anxious about re-election effort. So as it stands, in a private meeting at the White House in January, allies of the president had just told him his poll numbers in Michigan and Georgia had dropped over his handling of the war between Israel and Hamas, a war and all the war crimes that are taking place that Biden already knew about. Both are battleground states he narrowly won 4 years ago, and he can't afford any backsliding if he is to once again defeat Donald Trump. He began to shout and swear. A lawmaker familiar with the meeting said, "Are you sure?" Or did he just stutter and just drool out ice cream? He believed he had been doing what was right despite the political fallout, he told the group, according to the lawmaker. Well, no. If he knew that war crimes were taking place, and he did, so all of the people who voted uncommitted, Biden knew that civilians were being bombed. Biden knew, and he didn't stop it. He knew all the way since October. So everyone who voted uncommitted, I understand, why you guys did it. But remember, come election night, no matter who is on the ballot, be it Trump or Biden, or let's say, hey, we might see a twisty twist and there could be a different Democrat or Republican there. No matter what, nothing's going to fundamentally change until the American people say no more. They don't care. They don't care that there's war crimes happening in Gaza. Biden has made it abundantly clear, but yet he's angry because he thought he was doing the right thing. Asked about the episode, Andrew Bates, a White House spokesman, said President Biden makes national security decisions based on the country's national security needs alone, no other factor. For months, Democrats have watched the 2024 campaign unfold with rising alarm as the sitting president struggles to gain ground against his defeated predecessor. Frustrations rippling through the party have reached the top, with Biden at times second-guessing travel decisions and communication strategies that have left much of the electorate clueless about his record. Interviews with nearly 20 lawmakers, present and past administration officials, and Biden allies show. The starting gun for the general election campaign fired last week as Biden wrapped up the Democratic nomination, yet he is still searching for ways to impress upon voters that he deserves a second term by dint of policy achievements that eluded past presidents. I can't wait to cover the DNC convention here in Chicago. And yes, that'll be taking place between August 19th through the 22nd, both at the United Center and at McCormick Place here in the Windy City, the city of Chicago, the central hub for the Democratic machine, where corruption and corporatism and neoliberalism run rampant. Oh, God, the city's so corrupt. But it's okay. I'm not angry. History suggests it'll be tough for him to recover. Biden's 38% approval rating, stage in the calendar, is lower than that of the last three presidents who went to lose re-election: Trump, George H.W. Bush, and Jimmy Carter. Look, Trump at 48%, George H.W. Bush, good old George Sr., 39%, and Jimmy Carter, who got slapped around by Ronnie Boy Reagan, 43%, according to the Gallup survey data. Biden has long believed that he isn't getting sufficient credit for an economy that had created 15 million jobs. Hey, folks, how's the U.S. economy treating you? That's right, this economy. Type 1 for, Kit, you awful man. The economy's doing fine. I got 3 meals a day, a full tank of gas, a roof over my head, my bills are paid. This is the best economy, period, ever, period. You awful man. Hashtag unsubscribed. Type 2, please stop asking this question. It's really starting to hurt. I don't know how I'm going to make it past the next hour. Full tank of gas, what's that? 3 meals a day, what's that? My bills are paid? I can't pay the bills for the last 6 months. Great economy. Looking to reach distracted voters who have been tuning in, he told his speechwriters before the State of the Union to address to tone down some of the lofty rhetoric and plainly lay out what he's done, a person familiar with the speech preparator said. By the way, I wonder how many twos we're going to get in the chat. I wonder. During internal discussions, he'll press aides about which parts of his record to highlight in different states, said a second person who is familiar with the matter. Surrounded by protective aides who want to minimize the chances of a flub. That's his shield wall, because you don't want to have Biden say something senile, right? The 81-year-old president has chafed at restraints that he sees as counter to his natural instincts as a retail politician, a third person familiar with internal discussion said. He has felt cocooned at times and has been eager to get out more, meet voters face to face, and take the fight directly to Trump, said the third person. Biden, believe it or not, they're actually doing you a favor. But you know what, Biden? Go ahead. Go on out there. Regale us with tales of corn pop. See, what's happening is the White House staffers know that Biden's going to say something goofy because the memes out there are absolutely glorious. So there you go. And again, he's eminently beatable. Biden has on occasion directed his ire at his tight-knit senior staff. Given the success he has laid in passing consequential bills and improving the economy, hey, is the economy improving for you? Hey, respond to our question. Biden was irritated that his message wasn't sinking in with the broader electorate, the sources said. 8 months before the election, Biden's campaign team remains confident about his chances because confidence is high. Now, here's how you know you're being lied to, especially by the jagoffs at MSNBC. They say that President Biden is raising campaign money like Bernie Sanders through small donations.
But the big dollar Bill Clinton, President Obama event is to be expected. When you hear about those small dollar donors, that's kind of Bernie Sanders flavored. So is that a surprise to see that for President?
Why? Who told you to talk? You got a head with a brain in it. Use it. There's a big difference between what Bernie Sanders suckered people in 2016 and 2020 and what Joe Biden is doing, okay? Because right now, there's a lot of desperate vote blue no matter who people, latte drinking liberals who are donating to Biden. But it's nowhere on par to what we saw in 2016 and in 2020.
President Biden, who are those kind of donors? Are they new?
Yeah, so we're seeing that donor base grow over the last 4 years from when he ran in 2020. One of the things is you're exactly right. Joe Biden is someone throughout his presidential career has not been the best fundraiser. He doesn't really like it. It's not his strongest suit. He'd much rather be out on the rope line, talking to people, shaking hands, kissing babies, the sort of classic retail politicking. But what we have seen from the president over the last few years is that he's been able to broaden his appeal to all sorts of Democrats that want to give in and chip in. So one of the ways that he's raising money is through a very large email list. I'm sure many of your viewers get those sort of email and text messages.
Right here, Bernie, for giving away all our emails to the Democratic establishment. That's why we're getting emails. That's why you're getting emails every day. Hey, give us $15 so we could stop Trump. Please donate to us so we could stop the Republicans. Give us money. Give us money. Can you help us out? No, but give us money.
From Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, asking them to chip in $5 here, $10 here. One of the things we saw,
and I don't wanna,
that small dollar donor network was really activated was after the State of the Union. The president's campaign raised more than $10 million in the 24 hours after the State of the Union. That was one example of really where the campaign is pushing out on digital, on social media, these fundraising appeals to the millions of Democrats that are part of this larger universe. I think one of the things that the Biden campaign is really trying to do is tap into that universe and activate those people that have really powered Democrats to success in the midterms and in the last presidential election, and using the Trump factor now that it's very clear it's a Biden versus Trump race, We've known that's going to be the case for months, but I think the Biden campaign is really trying to get that message across to voters around the country that this is a binary choice. And
this is called deflecting, shielding, and taking away any kind of criticism towards Joe Biden. In that article alone, Joe Biden is upset that he's being cocooned in. Well, he has to be. If you're part of the Democratic establishment, you want to make sure that Biden is not speaking to the press because, oh no, turns out the old man is going to say something goofy, which he has. He's given away the secret sauce one too many times. He has shown that he has some health issues that's impacting his ability to be the leader of the free world, right? We have seen a treasure trove of videos, not only now, but in previous years, of Biden not acting all there. And the American people sense it. And there's one thing I think we all can universally agree on. If we're going to have somebody leading us, they should at least know their ass from a hole in the ground, which Biden doesn't. Biden doesn't raise enthusiasm. He raises concerns. And should he win re-election, he'll be the oldest sitting president in U.S. history, and he clearly has cognitive issues. And yet the media is forming their shield wall, saying that everything's fine. He's raising money, just like Bernie Sanders did. He's raising money from diehard Democrat voters who have suffered from the mental derangement syndrome of Trump derangement syndrome.
And that's leading to a lot of donations from Democrats and others around the country.
Give it up for the Democrats. Give it up for the Democrats in corporate media to hide. But no matter what, folks, I'm not supporting Joe Biden and I'm not supporting Donald Trump because both parties are owned by Wall Street, big banks, corporations, lobby groups, the top 1%. These people control everything. And just so you know, it doesn't matter who sits on the throne because this right here, elites say they are okay with Biden versus Trump. It's not like we have a Bernie Sanders socialist running. So Bernie, when you're on that podcast of yours, that fantastic podcast, just remember, your most diehard followers, the ones who used to believe in you, will forever look at you and say the word cuck. Because you could have done something. But here we are, click, copy, paste of 2020, now in 2024. Two old men fighting over a cold bowl of potato soup. That's right, potato soup this time. And you could have done something different, but you chose not to.
We often say, when you look at between the policies that Biden or Trump would take in that rematch, it's not like we have a Bernie Sanders socialist running. I mean, you don't have some of the worst case scenarios where they're really anti-capitalist. Even Biden, who is favorable higher taxes, is still pro-business generally. He's not trying to say you should have any business opportunity. So, there's definitely pros and cons of each of them. You have, Trump, who could actually bring a much more tariff-oriented mindset certainly to China, but you worry about, would he bring tariffs against everything? We're talking about the Fed. Trump has made it very clear he's anti-Powell. So the question is, who would he put in? Some of those people have been actually quite hawkish that he's rumored to talk about. So we'll see how that impacts things. But in general, we'd say it's not going to be a major difference one or the other, despite all the noise.
So it doesn't matter. Your vote doesn't matter. If you're a diehard Democrat voter, a diehard Republican voter, remember, your vote will never matter because you will never, ever have a seat at the table. You will never have any relevance or weight to these politicians. Election season is when the abusive boyfriend or girlfriend, because let's face it, there's abuse out there, says, "Oh, I'm sorry for smacking you in the mouth. I'm sorry for stealing money from you. I'm sorry I cheated on you. I'm sorry I stole your car. I'll change. Just take me back." And once it's all done, once the honeymoon phase is over, the abuse continues all over again. And all these politicians are guilty of it. The establishment Democrats, the establishment Republicans, and yes, even our favorite progressive lawmakers, they're part of it too. But folks, Bernie Sanders has got a new podcast. He's going to be talking about his book. Buy his book. Buy his book now. And he's going to talk about it. But I promise you, once he's done talking about his book, he's going to start telling people to vote for Joe.